Welcome to the Light of Sirio podcast. My name is Dori Fari and I will speak with a realized spiritual master about his views on life and the topic of spirituality.
Savan Kirpalu Ajaib Tera Sahara Mera sharan Tu mera prema hai Savan Kirpal.
We arrived to episode 6 of season 6, so welcome everyone and welcome dear master.
Good morning, you and anybody listening anytime.
And as a first thing, I would like to say to everyone who is interested that the next meeting with Master Sirio is going to be the intense spring spiritual meditation retreat in the Sant Ashram from the 25th of April to the 1st of May. So if you're interested, you can find further details on the SirioSatsang.com website. And then, as I often say, that we have another podcast as well, the Daily Guidance Meditation Podcast. So if you want to make a try with meditation practice, then you can look for this other podcast and listen to it when daily a new episode is published. Recently, we had some issues. Some episodes got stuck. I don't know that they were published and they were set automatically private. So we are working on it to solve this issue. But anyway, you can enjoy lots of meditation talks. I think now we are at like 150. I lost track. There are really many guided meditations which you can enjoy there. If anyone hasn't seen yet, we started a new channel, the Sirio Nada Yoga Music Band official artist channel, where we offer you spiritual music, bhajans, mantras and other devotional songs. You're welcome, you're most welcome to look for it and subscribe and to leave a rating and put a like, a comment maybe. That's very appreciated if you like it. Now we can continue with our questions and your answers, dear master.
Yes.
The question we have to begin with today. In special periods of grace, I have spiritual experiences when laying down to sleep, which don't happen to me in a seated meditation, like going out of my body and seeing it from down and going into the planes beyond the physical plane, or having bright visions of the Master conveying a clear message. My experiences in seated meditation are very pleasant, but of a different kind. How to understand those experiences in sleep, dream, in comparison to those in which I'm sure being fully awake? Do they count the same? Should we be able having the same experience in the latter state, in the state of being seated, fully awake? Can Master Sirio Ji elaborate on the phenomenon of spiritual experience in sleep, dream?
In the spiritual practice, there are many stages, and according to the stage we're in, we get corresponding spiritual experiences. So when we first come on the spiritual path, in order to be caught by the spiritual path, by the spiritual practice, by this new lifestyle, this new quest for a meaning in life, we have to experience something that catches us somehow and pulls us into this direction. And according to the intensity of the spiritual experiences we have in the very beginning, correspondingly, the intensity of our commitment to the path will be. I am on this path for 52 years now, 52 years this time, I was on my trip to India.
Yes, in April. Yeah.
And actually, let's say 52 years this time, I just met Master Kirpal. I know very well how things work, how this spiritual phenomenon unfolds. Besides watching myself, my life, as it has been going for these many years, I also watch the life of so many other people, both during the time of Master Kirpal, with a number of satsangis, during the time of Sanji, with another group of satsangis, and nowadays with the group that now exists. I know very well how these things happen. As I said, according to our receptivity, according to our openness to the spiritual perception, according to our potential, we get corresponding spiritual experiences. So some people are very open, very receptive. Easily they get special spiritual experiences, which makes the spiritual life very catching, very involving. So they really stick to the path and they follow it with full conviction, with full determination, and also with full pleasure and joy of doing it, because this is very important. You can't do for too long something which is not appealing to you, which you don't like. Conviction, which comes from a theoretical aspect, which can be a doctrine, a theology, a philosophy, doesn't last too long unless you're really a schematic person that believes without seeing. But especially in this so-called scientific era, people believe if they see something, otherwise they don't believe. That's why there are so many atheists nowadays. That's because nowadays you can't take people to believe into something unless they experience something. The time of using methods like fear of hell, fear of this, the judgment of God, the last judgment day, and these stories, they're kind of over.
Yes, in the medieval age, at least in Europe, there was this fear of death. That was the motto of the era. Memento mori. Remember that.
It's okay to remember that, but not in a fearful way.
Yes, but it was meant in a way, memento mori, that remember that you are going to die, so then either you go to hell or paradise. So you have to follow the teachings and live accordingly in order to go to heaven. Otherwise, for an eternity, you go to hell.
Yeah, that was a very good strategy of the church to keep people subdued and fearful and not thinking and reasoning about facts, how and why these teachings are given out, these belief systems are given out. Anyway, before people could believe because of this, but nowadays it's not like this anymore. Most of the people do believe in something if it becomes an experience in their own life, a fact in their own life.
Well, also, sorry to interrupt, but also because the ruling philosophy of the time, at least in a geographical area, was the religion, was like the cohesion power of society. So that was the philosophy of the society, not the way of living. If you didn't follow the teachings, then you were excommunicated, which meant that you were out of society, that you became persona non grata, you became an outcast. So that was not wise to go against these teachings, also for practical reasons now. And now that there is such a wide offering of so many things and nobody excommunicates you, nobody says anything for the way you think, that there is the free way of thinking and within certain limits, should be within limits, certain way of acting, certain way of expressing yourself, saying what you want. So that also times have changed, isn't it?
Of course, of course. This is the evolutionary process which happens in a society. We don't stay the same all the time, thanks God. We improve. Things change slowly, by and by. Not very quickly, unfortunately.
Once you said in a satsang, I remember very well, this stuck into my mind, this sentence. If you never change, then you will stay the same forever.
So nowadays people want to see and hear something. Master Kirpal used to say, you believe in what you see yourself and in what you hear yourself. Don't believe in what other people see and in what other people hear. So it must be a personal experience in order to believe into something. Master Kirpal also used to say, to be born in a religion may be good. To die in that religion, not so good. Because it means that there has been no evolution in your life experience. You have gone through 60, 70, 80 years in a lifetime, and there has been no improvement, no change really. If you never come to put into question, to doubt even, the belief that it has been imposed on you at your birth, according to the family and the place you were born, then it means you never really activated your reasoning capacity, your discriminative power, let's say. Anyway, let's go back to the fact of experience. So as I said, people who look for a spiritual path, they must get some personal inner experience in order to take up the path and follow it. And according to the intensity of the experience they get right in the very beginning, consequently, their commitment to that path will be. People who get inner experiences, I must say, they are lucky. It's not always a guarantee, because I've seen also people coming on the path, getting very special inner experiences. And when these experiences were withdrawn from them, then they left the path. Because this withdrawing of these inner experiences, it happens with everyone. No one is spared. So I've also seen people coming on the path, having something special that made them convinced to pick up this path, never had inner visions, never leaving the body, never going into the beyond, into the astral plane or causal plane, but yet, by and by, sticking to the path for most of their life or their whole life. So every possibility is there. Anyway, most of the time, to get powerful inner experiences in the beginning is very helpful for most of the people.
We also said sometimes, even in this podcast, that Master Kirpa used to say that it's very easy to see God and it's very difficult to become a real man. It's connected with this thing that, as you say, that some people have very special, powerful, divine experiences and then it's withdrawn.
Yeah, that's right. Because the experience is a gift. It's grace. It's a blessing. But then the transformation of a human being from being human or below human into becoming a divine being, full of love, full of compassion, full of selfless service, wanting to use his or her life to the service of his or master, to the service of the Sangat, to the service of humanity, that's another process, which implies a very deep commitment, a very deep and profound will to become from a lusty, angryful, egoistic, full of attachments to this world, and so on and so forth, narcissist, arrogant, into a loving human being. That's such a powerful process. That's such a demanding process, which most of the people are not ready to undergo. So how do these inner experiences happen? Most of the time they happen that you sit in meditation with a master and suddenly you feel an inner pull that pulls you out of the body, inner vision is opened and light manifests. And this light brings with itself ecstasy, bliss, and a state of wonderful inner being. This may manifest in so many different ways. And as I say often, each one of us has his own peculiar way of experiences, something transcendental, something that goes beyond body, sensory perception, mind activity. Also, we are different. There are several possibilities, several ways by which this inner experience may come. Some people in a fully wakeful state, they might become scared when these phenomena manifest. Leaving the body, feeling above the body, seeing masters and inner visions of different kinds. Some people may become afraid of this in a fully wakeful state. You know, God is a very intelligent agent, or a very intelligent being, if you want to call it like this, reality, and knows very well what to give and how to give to each one of us. Because God is infinite. God is all-powerful. It's an incredible intelligence that knows what's going on in this whole universe, not just on this planet. You know, an intelligence that may govern and move everything just on this planet Earth, it's a big something already. An extremely powerful and special intelligence.
Maybe God has an algorithm like the big systems have. Like
much bigger than that, I'm sure. Much
social
bigger
networks,
than that.
YouTube, now everything has an algorithm. How to say, when you need to ask help, then you have to understand how the algorithm works, which nobody understands because they are so complicated, no? Supported by artificial intelligence. So God also has an algorithm of life on this planet, and then maybe he has another algorithm for another planet.
Any algorithm will never be God's algorithm, because that's what includes all of them. So anyway,
The supreme formula.
supreme, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, so an intelligence that moves everything on this planet is already something. But an intelligence that moves everything in the solar system is so much more. Another one that moves everything and knows everything what's going on in the Milky Galaxy. Wow, incredible. But you know how many billions and trillions of galaxies there are in this universe, and they all are moved and governed by this supreme intelligence.
The supreme algorithm.
Call it this way.
So like you said sometimes in Satsang, that the microcosm is like the macrocosm. So that's the pattern. As you said, if we watch how our cells do work with the atoms, then it's the same way like the solar system and the planet do work. Not everything, also in this
and the universe itself.
And then the universe itself. So the perfect supreme algorithm of God,
to use modern terminology. So some people take it much easier if they have it in a state of dream. You must say, when you are experiencing a spiritual awakening, experiences come usually in many different ways. Both when you sit conscious and fully awake in meditation, then when you fall asleep, you keep having some kind of inner experience. That's how it was with me in the beginning. I was meditating for 2 long years, the whole day, every day. So I had lots of experiences when I was sitting in meditation, and also during the night. I continued having wonderful dreams and very beautiful experiences over there also.
As you said also in the episode on the continuous repetition of the Simran, the constant Simran. So if anybody wants to listen to them, you can look back. There is an episode on constant Simran, and then that's what you said, that if we keep repeating the Simran intensely with full concentration throughout the day, then eventually it becomes so powerful that whatever we do, the Simran is always present. And then, as you quoted, I think Sanjit, he said, repeat the Simran day and night.
Yes, because what we do and what we think and what we experience during the day, it leaves an imprint on the subconscious mind. So when you fall asleep, you keep dreaming more or less things of the same kind. So if you're doing a constant Simran, after some time, when you fall asleep, you will continue doing the Simran even in a sleepy state, or dreaming that you're doing the same.
Mm-hmm. Well, but I think here there are different things we should talk about, because then this is the case when we do constant repetition, or we think a lot of the master and think a lot of the path and the teachings, and maybe we work with the satsangs, listening to satsang, daily guidance meditation, and our mind, our unconscious level is also full with it. That's one thing. So that consequently then it comes back to us at night, because we were busy with it the whole day. But then there is another layer of our psyche, our mind, that when we don't think of something, but we would like to think, no, that sometimes when we forget something, or God, as you said, is very gentle and respects our way of being. And then God knows that we are connected, but maybe we don't work on it during the day because we are too busy with other things, maybe kids or work or something. So we have to pay attention to those things. And then God puts it back in a different state of consciousness as a reminder. Is it possible?
This is also possible. Yes, could be.
Because it's not that everybody is always busy with the constant Simran, and that's why these dreams come, I suppose.
Yes, this is also possible. But anyway, going back to how these things happen or may happen. One way can be, as you said, that if that's the way we can get an experience because of what our life condition is, then that's also possible. But anyway, some people do experience very vivid dreams, and some people don't experience very vivid dreams as a peculiarity, characteristic of their psyche. And those who have this kind of psyche, they will have these very vivid dreams. So the criteria to understand if a dream that you have or an experience that you have in a dream state, it's a dream or a vision, it is this, that if you're aware when you're having the experience in a sleep state and you're very conscious of the experiences you're getting, then that's a vision and it's not a dream. If you remember that experience which you had in a dream state when you wake up, then that's not a vision, that's a dream. So that's how it goes. If you in a sleep state you have a revelation, a vision, experience of any kind that you are aware of while you're having it, then it's not a dream, it's a vision. But if you remember it once you're awake, then it's a dream. It doesn't mean that it's not meaningful and doesn't have an effect on you. The effect is motivated by the intensity of the impression that lives on your mind, on your heart, on your soul, however you want to call it. God comes to us the way we may welcome him, her, it, whatever you want to call this God.
I have a question about this that I suppose, but it's a question, that if you are used to some kind of experiences, then in order to stay on the spiritual path, then these experiences will come the same way. I don't know how to say it in a nice way. That's why I say it's a question of mind, that sometimes talking with somebody, I know that this person before was taking substances and was very used to have this kind of vivid visions under the effect of substances also. And had this habit also, like in the evening, taking substances with friends, and then at night it went on. So that this person was very used to the vivid visions, not like opening of the consciousness, but visions. This person kept having like visions, experiences of the kind also on the path. Of course, then his visions did change, so it became a very positive and helping factor in his life. So I mean that I know that this one about whom I'm talking now, that he really put down everything, drugs, alcohol, smoking and everything, being inspired the master and the path. So really transformed his life and became very clean, pure, and really dedicated himself to meditation, spiritual practice, and dived into it. So really purified himself. But then he kept having these kind of vivid visions also in dreams, or like he needed it, so his mind kept needing it.
I think this is a question which we may answer in another complete session of this podcast. Because it's a very deep and multifaceted question. So I think in the next podcast, if you still have questions and answers, we will go into this. I prefer not to go into this because it's a big field of
I understand.
Of experience, and that we can take it up some other time. I think that to conclude this podcast, we keep staying on this question.
Okay.
So next time we will go into that. Then I've seen also that people who have very powerful, meaningful inner experiences in a dream state, they have a certain kind of mindset and even constitution. Because we must remember this, in Ayurveda, great wise people who created this system, they understood that human beings, they are not all the same. They're all different. So they try to categorize people according to their mental and physical, let's say, constitution. So they have these three main sets of people. The Kapha people, the Pitta people, and the Vata people. And, by watching so many people in these so many years, I've understood that a Kapha kind of person will not have, by any means, the same kind of experiences that a Vata person will have. They are totally different. And also a Pitta person It might have a mixture of the Kapha kind and the Vata kind, but it will have its own set, its own typical kind of experiences.
Yes, that's true. Well, if you wanted to describe, maybe if somebody doesn't know.
Kapha is earth and water.
Yes.
So it's a constitution which is a big body, a robust body, and tending also to pick up weight and become fat. And the Pitta is the middle size constitution, and the elements are fire and water. And the Vata kind is the very thin kind, which very difficult, picks up any weight in their whole life. And consequently, the elements that predominate in the kind of constitution are air and ether, which is space. Not space as an empty something, but what's inside the space, ether. What they call it Akash in India.
Yes, but if now somebody thinks that it's a helping factor to be Vata on the spiritual path, then I would like to add that you say sometimes that, or said in Satsang, that the real spiritual person is the one who stands with 2 feet on the ground. Because you say sometimes those who are Vata could be those who have the great experience and then they fly from here to there.
But also the Kapha people, they may be so sticking to the ground and to the earth, they can raise a bit over it. And the Pitta people, they can be so arrogant, so full of ego, that even if they get the best experiences, they spoil it with their arrogance. So anybody has his own set of positive sides and counterparts. So I can say that Vata people, they very often have this kind of dreams, very vivid dreams and very vivid inner experiences during dream visions, during dream state. And we can take up an example of a very Vata type of master. That was Ramakrishna Paramahansa, the master of Vivekananda. He was very skinny, even if he used to eat a lot, because he really was fond of food. And actually he used to say that he had to create in himself some kind of desire, because the tendency of his spirit, of his consciousness, was to leave the body anytime. So in order to stay in the body, he had to create some kind of desire for himself. But he was a very Vata person. And yet he became a very great master, one of those greatest ones, I would say. So anybody can become a master, whichever is the constitution, according to how intensely pursues the spiritual quest, the spiritual practice, and goes to the end of it. So I don't want to discourage anybody. Anybody can do it. But it's different. I've seen it so well, and especially when I studied Ayurveda, I realized, oh, that's why these kind of people have these kind of experiences most of the time. That's why these, let's say, this Kapha type. That's why these Pitta type have these kind of experiences. And that's why these Vata type have these kind of experiences. I think that we said enough about this topic. So the main thing, the main answer about this question is, for those who have this kind of experiences, that's the criteria. If you remember the experience after you wake up, it's a vivid dream, but it's not a vision. If you remember right away while you're having the experience in a sleep state, and you may even wake up with this full awareness and full remembrance of what you were experiencing, then it's a vision. I can give you an example of my life. When my wife became pregnant, at some point, one night, I dreamed of this baby that was going to be born. I saw the face, the eyes, very vivid. It was a girl. And I woke up right away with this very strong impression of the memory of the face of this baby. And I woke up my wife and told her, look, I had this dream. This would be a girl and would be like this. And when Nirmala was born, so many times, looking at her face when she was small, I could see exactly the face which I was dreaming that night. So this is an example of vision happens in a dream state. So by saying this, I think we can conclude this podcast. Thank you for those who will listen and benefit from it.
Okay, so thank you, dear Master, for replying this question. I'm sure the person who sent it will be very happy to listen to your answer. Next episode comes after 2 weeks. And in the meantime, you can enjoy, as I said, the episodes of the Daily Guidance Meditation podcast, or you can go back some old episodes, because now we have plenty of episodes also of this Light of Sirio podcast. Then you can find also lots of videos on the YouTube Sirio Satsang channel. Just recently this Wednesday, Master Sirio gave a live Satsang on the occasion of the death anniversary of Baba Savan Singh on the 2nd of April. And then, as I said, soon we are going to have the intense meditation retreat in the Sanani Ashram, so anybody interested, you can contact me on the siriopodcast@gmail.com, and you can also browse the siriosatsang.com website, and don't forget to look for the Sirio Nada Yoga music band, subscribe, give a like, and leave a comment. Now you can enjoy beautiful mantra sang by Master Sirio. So if you want to enjoy more, then don't forget about this Sirio Nada Yoga music.
Savan Kirpal Ajaib Tera Sahara Tera Sahara Mera Sharan Mera Sharan Tum Mera Prema Savan Kirpal Ajaib Tera Sahara Tera Sahara Mera Sharan Mera Sharan Tum Mera Prema Tum Mera Prema Tum Mera Prema